especially when they're giving you free money. It can take some time, and it's something that can be like, I don't want to use the word stressful necessarily, but you really want to make sure that you're managing your time, right? Because a lot of these things can get ahead of you. And so, yeah, if there's a program in here that you're like, that's what I want, I recommend taking some notes, right? Just to kind of think about, okay, when should I think about applying, right? The application process really isn't that bad. But I just recommend like organizing yourself a little bit first. Like, what do I need to get started? Fully understand the application process yourself. That can really, really help. Because there's kind of like multiple steps to this, I really do recommend using a calendar. Gmail is like my favorite when it comes to calendars because it reminds you. So if you add something to your calendar, it will like kind of give you a reminder 15 minutes before. So those are things that I just really recommend doing. And it's also going to be your best practice for after you leave the Excel Center as well. The idea really here, guys, is just to be thinking ahead of time, right? Instead of fumbling through it, really just know that, you know, you're going to have to put a little bit of work at the beginning. And it's really not that bad. Ask for help when you need it. And you really have to be your own advocate when it comes to applying for these things, because I can help, life coaches can help, your alumni coach will help too. But really, the only way this is going to get done is if you do it, right? We can support you, but ultimately it's going to be up to you to do these things. So I was just kind of like to start with that. And I mean, there's like a lot that goes into time management. You know what I mean? It's like people, I think, have like, you can teach a whole class on time management. And it's kind of like this buzzword, like time management. I really think that like when it comes down to time management, I think that the way that you can be successful in this is like your response to stressful situations. So when you're dealing with stress, like how do you manage that? How do you manage all the other things going on in your life, right? Because when we're in college, when we're in certification programs, life is still going to be going on. We're going to be stressed out, right? So you're going to want to think through this, like you know that stress will happen. What are some like protective factors that you can put in place now that will allow you to maintain all the things that you want to do? And I think that the application process itself really mirrors that. And just keep remembering that we're really looking forward, guys. And high school is temporary. What you're doing right now is temporary, and you're going to be learning all of this to use to jumpstart your career, to further your education and training, or to get a better job, right? So really think through this and really use the support that we have at the Excel Center, because when you graduate, it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of find people to help you with this kind of stuff. So please save my phone number and email. So when you do become a senior and you're ready to move on, you know that you can always call me for support. We're running a little late. I'm going to skip through that. So one of the things that I want to just kind of make note of is that all applications are going to require you to be online in some way. And so the world of like going somewhere and completing a paper application like does not exist anymore. So you're going to really want to be aware that you're going to be navigating online platforms. An online platform is like what we're on right now. And so you guys are probably like honestly ahead of the game than students last year who really weren't as comfortable using the computer. I mean, you guys are on Google Meet, you are in your Google Classrooms, you're using Gmail. Like for many of you, you kind of know the deal, like you know what you're doing. But just keep this in mind that when you're going through application processes online, it's really easy to let emails slip past you and to not be following up with that process. And so when you're starting to apply, always be paying attention to the emails that you receive from these organizations. That's going to be huge. Students typically get confused because they're not reading their emails. So that's going to be like your number one job, because you'll start seeing how you know, you finish one step, you get to the next, you get to the next, and it's all done online. Always have access to your personal Gmail, or sorry, to your personal email. So even if you don't use Gmail, because one day your school email will go away. So the one that we use for all your Google Classroom stuff is not the email address that you want to use when you're applying, because you're not going to always have it. So you're definitely going to want to use something that you can continue to use for years after the Excel Center. Also, guys, when you start applying, a lot of it is like, okay, create an account. Here's a username and password. Write those down somewhere. That's another way of just honestly getting frustrated, right? Like, I don't know if many of you guys have experienced this, but like, you know, that feeling where you created the account like literally the day before, but for some reason you cannot remember your password. And then now you have to go to forgot password, get an email. It's a whole thing. So one way to kind of get through this process, a little bit less stress, definitely always document your username and password. That is going to also be the case for financial aid. When you do FAFSA and TASFA, you have to create a username and password. And so kind of keeping all of that in one spot is going to be ideal for you guys. I would be prepared to provide documentation. And so especially when we're talking through Capital IDEA, they provide scholarships. The funding for the GCTA is all going to be free for you, right? So a lot of times people have to verify your income. They have to verify your identity a lot of times. So you're really going to want to make sure that you have an ID. And that's really because it's going to be hard to get through an entire application process without it. I know that we're dealing with a lot of stuff with COVID, but places are reopening. So if you don't have a government issued ID, I highly recommend working on that now. Now's a really good time to be working on that because we got some time before you graduate. That's just something that we're always going to need typically, right, for these programs. For financial aid, I talked about it a little bit last time, right? We understand what the application is and what it does for us, but we're going to need our tax return to do that. We always use the year before. So for the 2021 school year, we're using 2019 taxes. So for you guys, since you're like a junior, sophomore, you're probably going to use your 2020 taxes next year. So make sure that once you file your taxes this spring, keep that somewhere where you know where it is so you can do financial aid next year. Social Security number is a lot of times asked for. So if you don't have that memorized, make sure you have access to your card or you know what your number is. That can kind of trip people up sometimes. But just be prepared that a lot of times these organizations are going to ask for documentation. And I really want to stress too, like really think realistically and critically before you decide on a program. And so you really want to think about, like, does the schedule work for me? Right? Because you're the one that's going to have to get up every day and do this. So do not apply for a program unless you know that it's going to work with your schedule. Make sure that you have transportation to get there. Not everyone will be training online right now. I know the GCTA is in person, for example. So always make sure you can get there. That's going to be really important. Just think about like what kind of support you're going to need, and that you have all the necessary tools to get this done. So you really want to be thinking about these things now. And if there's something here that is coming up for you as a barrier, like, we are here to talk through that with you. The biggest issues are when we have to solve problems in a very short period of time because we're up against the clock, right? So the sooner we start thinking about our barriers, right, the better. And I recommend, like, for example, Workforce Solutions, they don't have a wait list right now for childcare. And so if you know you're going to need childcare to do these things after the Excel Center or being at the Excel Center, highly recommend applying for those services. And typically Workforce has like year-long wait list. So the fact that they don't is really cool. I recognize that we're in the middle of the pandemic and a lot of us may not feel comfortable yet. I completely understand all of that. And, but I do want to let you know that those opportunities are there for you. Okay, so we're just going to start out with some programs. Every single program that I'm going to talk through today is a community partner of ours, meaning that I have people there that I know really well and that I can connect you to. So ACC is going to be also coming to our class. I haven't had a chance to tell Mr. Stanley, but they are going to come talk to us about a really cool program that helps support first-year students. And so I'm going to have them come to one of our advisories. I'm going to get that scheduled probably by the end of this week. So just be staying tuned for that because I think that'll be really cool to have them come talk. But really for ACC, their online application is not great. I will just be like 100% honest. Like the ACC application, it just takes some time and it requires you to follow up. Is it hard? No, none of it is challenging. It's just time consuming at times. Really, so ACC is a public community college. So anyone that applies will be accepted. But you have to make sure that you have all the admissions requirements completed before you can start classes. And so some of the requirements are going to be that you've completed the TSI. So the TSI is a test that you take to show that you are ready for college level classes. So you really want to do your best to study for the TSI because you really want to make sure that when you get to that level, you don't need to take remedial classes or college classes that are actually not college credit, but are designed to get you prepared for those college level classes. So that should not scare you. And really, like, even if you have to take a couple remedial classes, it's not the end of the world. I have taken many remedial. Like when I was in high school, I really struggled with math. And so I had to take remedial math classes, but I was able to pass my English and my writing. So that really helped me. So you want to think through this, like, you know, if you don't pass the whole thing, you know, that's a sign you maybe need to study a little bit more and retake it. But maybe you pass parts or not others, right? And ACC has courses to really support you through that. What's really cool about the program that is going to come to our class is that they provide those classes for free. And so if you're not able to pass the TSI, they can kind of help get you there. But that's just something you want to be thinking about. And it's a lot kind of like a STAR test. It's not a fun thing to do, but you only got to do it once. Typically we say to give it about like 2 or 3 tries and to study beforehand. But it's not something you want to be taking like multiple times because it pretty much just allows you to kind of go into the level of coursework that you're going to be ready for. The other thing that ACC is going to want eventually is an official high school transcript. And so I want to take a moment to talk about the difference between a transcript and a diploma. So a lot of times students are like, they think that when they graduate that they need a high school diploma to show these organizations and colleges. That's actually really only for you. The high school diploma itself is a decorative thing that you have to show that you completed it, but it's not what ACC or Peloton U will take to see that you completed high school. What you'll instead want to do is to request an official high school transcript. So we have an online form that students can go and request a transcript from our registrars. And they're only official if you do not open it. So if you get an official transcript and it has like a stamp on it, do not open it. Because if you open it, all of a sudden it is not official, okay? So when you graduate, you will not need your diploma for ACC. You will need your high school transcript, okay? Any questions over that? Okay, awesome. A lot of the time students like don't know when they should apply to ACC. And so because it does require a few different admission steps, you're gonna want to apply about 3 months, I would say, before you graduate or before you want to start classes at ACC. So for people that are going to be graduating in May, they're applying for ACC right now because it starts in August, right? So you're able to do a lot of the admission steps while you're still in school. And then after you graduate, you can send them your transcript to complete the process. But I would not wait to get that official transcript to start the application process, because you're going to want to use the resources at the Excel Center to help you. So we offer the TSI for students. That's something that you can do with us as well. So I would say, like, think about it like about 3 months ahead of time is what I would say for ACC. And ACC has 2 entry points. This is another important piece. So you can start school at ACC in August, or you can start school in January. There's going to be only 2 entry points. And so you really want to think strategically about your grad plan. And so, like, if you're going to be graduating like term 1 or term 2 next year, you want to be thinking about, like, well, when would I start my application, right? Start thinking about this stuff now. It's only going to help you reach your goals. And then how do you get started? How do you actually apply to ACC? It is an online application. And so what you do is you go to their website and you just apply online. And then there's multiple other steps after that. If I were to explain every step, I would be here forever with that. But what I will do is show you their website, so you can have an idea of, like, what to do. I'm just going to go to Google. I'm going to type in Austin Community College. And it's the first thing that comes up on Google. So I'm going to go here. And you're just going to see their website right away, right? That's the first thing you're going to see. The key word for you guys when you're applying, especially when it comes to colleges, you're going to want to go to admissions. That is the word. That is like the department that you want to go to. Hang on, I think my computer is kind of low. Okay, I'll go get my charger in a second. So if I go here to admissions, right here at the top, right, there's going to be a couple drop-down menus. I go to admissions, and then boom, it goes steps to enroll. So if you go to the website, it's going to list every step that you need to complete the application. And so a lot of this process is going to be you doing research online. You're always welcome to pull in someone to help you, but I really want to empower you to use the internet as a tool for research, because you're going to be able to find a lot of the things you need that way. So here's the admissions, and it says 4 steps and you're in. So they have a video that you can watch. And if I scroll down, they've got the dates for you. They've got some resources in case you need help, right? So everything is here for you. Know that when you're ready, what you're going to really want to do is just start the application process online and then register to take the TSI. Do you guys have any questions about ACC before I move on to another organization? Okay. Okay, so we're just going to go to the next one. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot I have this slide. Okay, so I did want to talk for a second about, like, what happens after you complete financial aid, right? So after you complete FAFSA, like, what do you do after that? Because we know that ACC takes the FAFSA, but, like, what happens? So FAFSA is like an online federal application, and they just give your information to the college that you put on there. So ACC will, once you apply, they're going to connect your information from financial aid with your application. So you have to start the application process in order to even access any of the funds from financial aid. It's not like financial aid is going to say, oh, here's some money for you to go to college. Like, you really got to like get into the college. You have to complete enrollment steps and you have to register for classes, right? So the biggest thing with ACC is that you really can't move forward in the application process until you take your TSI. So you can apply online, but they're not going to give you access to the online portal until you take your TSI. So think of it like this, like really the application process for ACC will begin after you take your TSI test. After you take the TSI, they're going to create an online portal for you. And they're going to create what's called an ACC EID. It's basically like your student ID, and it's a username and password that you log into to access all of the important things like registering for classes, accepting financial aid. All of those things are going to happen once you have your online portal. That is where you accept your aid. So you have to tell ACC, yes, I want to go to school. Yes, I want to use financial aid. So that is something that you will do through the online portal. Through the online portal, you're going to be able to accept your free money. Say, yes, I want my free money. I want my grants. But you're going to say, no, I don't want my loans. So FAFSA will give you the option for both. Okay, so this is kind of where you say, I don't want to borrow money, but yes, I will take the free money that you're going to give me. So, we've talked a little bit about the awesome things about financial aid, right? Like, for those of us that are going to be able to qualify for the Pell Grant, that means that not only do you have enough to cover tuition at ACC, but you can get a refund. So what happens is, like, in August, after you register for classes, they will use your money that the government gave you from financial aid to pay for tuition. They're going to send you a refund of anything else that's left over. So your Pell Grant, if you qualify for it, is about $6,345. Tuition at ACC for the school year is about $2,500. So you'll be refunded $3,845. So that all happens right up to the first day of school. So that's why there's just so many different steps that have to happen before you get to that point. But this is just kind of like what you can expect to happen after you complete financial aid. Anybody have any questions about this part? Okay. Okay, I want to go to the next one. I'm going to talk through the Goodwill Career and Technical Academy. So they are an awesome training program through Goodwill. And so what they do is they provide short-term certification program or certification programs that are funded through Goodwill. And so usually you'll be going through some eligibility requirements in the beginning, but what's really cool is that this program is designed to pick up the cost of those certifications. So you will not be asked to apply for financial aid or scholarships or any of that, but you will need to show proof of income, proof that you are eligible to work in the United States, and then you sometimes have to satisfy some tests. They're not anything like the TSI, but they're like entrance tests. One of them is called the Wonderlic. Have you guys heard of the Wonderlic or have taken it already?
Yes.
Cool. So the Wonderlic is going to be one of the main tests that the GCTA will use. And typically they just want to make sure that you're going to be able to get through their program. I haven't really had any issues with this. Like, most of the time our students are able to get through the Wonderlic and the CASA test. But just like, I always like to put it on your radar. That's just something you can't expect. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, cool. Yeah. So the reason why the Excel Center does stuff like that is really to prepare you for your next step. So it's not like we want to torture you with tests, but we just want to make sure that when you get to that next step in your life that you're going to not have any problems. So I'm going to just show you guys their website so that you can see a little bit more. So this is their training class schedule, but I'm going to go first just to their main website. And this is where you're going to really want to go, you know, just when you're doing your research. What I want to do is down and I want to show you things that they typically offer. So they offer certifications in healthcare, skilled trades. They do some like professional and business ones, and they also do some technology certifications. So this really mirrors a lot of the other stuff that we've talked about in this class. So for healthcare, one of the coolest things that they do is a medical assistant one. So I just spoke to the instructor today at the GCTA, and the way that they do these medical assistant certifications, they actually include phlebotomy and EKG tech within the medical assistant program. So you get to learn like 3 different things in this program, and you're doing it in a very short period of time. So I'll give you an example. The medical assistant program that's happening this summer starts on June 28th, and it goes all the way until August 28th. So it's really like 2 months. That same program at ACC would take a year, right? So you're doing this really expedited at the GCTA, and you're doing it for free. And they help you get a job afterward. So like you're taken care of really in a good way. So for healthcare, they do medical assistant, which is really what I'd recommend. They also have a standalone phlebotomy certification you can do. Phlebotomy are the people that take blood. And then they also sometimes have nursing assistant or CNA. I haven't seen CNA this year. I've really only seen medical assistant and phlebotomy, but there's tons of CNA programs out there. For skilled trades, they are going to have the CDL certification. They do a core construction certification. They have one for electrical helper and something called building maintenance tech, which I'm not so sure about. In terms of like business and technology, they offer a Microsoft Office customer service certification. So if you wanted to work in like an administrative office setting, that's something that's really cool. And technology, right now they're offering something called Python. I really don't know much about Python. I'm really sorry. The tech world is so big and I'm learning, but they do offer it. And I think it's a lot like JavaScript or something like that, where you're learning how to like code in that program. So they offer a ton of stuff. And so what I recommend doing is looking at this website on your own, watching some of these videos. And I'm going to go ahead and click here for the current schedule. And this is where you're going to want to go to see like, okay, what are the dates? What are the times? Now, these classes, they are long because they're so short, right? These programs, like the electrical helper one starts May 24th and ends on June 18th. That one's even shorter. So they're really short, but it's Monday to Friday from 9 to 5, right? So look through this. This is a great way to kind of be thinking like, okay, if I know that I graduate soon, you know, set up a really good time frame so that way you can go straight into these programs at the GCTA. So this is a really big one. A lot of our students take advantage of these programs after they graduate. For the GCTA, they're very strict about attendance. And so the piece that I was telling you guys about earlier is really important, right? Making sure that you can get there every day. Kind of thinking through what barriers might exist, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and just as a reminder, you're going to want to apply to the GCTA the term that you are graduating. And so the way that you can get started really is to contact your life coach or me, because we have a specific process to get you guys over there. So really, in order to get started with the GCTA, it's really cool. Like, you don't need to do like a whole online application. All you need to do is contact me or your life coach. We complete a small online form, and then an admissions counselor will contact you directly. So it's really pretty easy, which is awesome. Guys, I just need to quickly grab my computer charger. I'm in a different office today, so I don't have all my stuff. So just give me literally just 1 second. This time I will not leave the call. Okay, I'm back. Thanks, guys. Okay, cool. So we did the GCTA. That one's a really awesome one. And there are so many jobs in those areas, guys. Like, when I was talking to the instructor today, she was just telling me, like, I mean, there's just tons of jobs within the skilled trades in the medical field. And they have really high passing rates. Like, 100% of students that start her classes pass them. So it's just really cool because you get so much support. Oops. Okay, I'm also going to talk to you guys about a really great program called Skill Point Alliance. They also provide certifications at no cost. So pretty much like every program that I'm talking about today provides a lot of financial assistance. I'm highlighting, these are all partners that we can do a warm handoff with. These are all just really great because they're free. So that's just something to keep in mind. Skill Point Alliance, they provide certifications in skilled trades. So what they do is they do like a pre-apprentice electrical program. So what they do is they prepare you to go straight into the electrical union where you begin an apprenticeship. They do the same thing with plumbing. They do that with manufacturing jobs. And they also sometimes do this for medical fields. Right now, they're really focusing on skilled trades. They'll also do things like HVAC. They will also do things like the CDL. So a lot of times, like, what will happen is a student might be interested in the GCTA or ACC, but they may have a program that doesn't work with their schedule, right? So when I talk about, like, you know, does the program fit? You know, don't be discouraged if it doesn't fit, because there's other options out there. And knowing this now is just going to be the key. So they are really, really cool. They're pretty easy too. Like, their application process is not as involved as something like ACC. If you would like to get started with them, you're going to really talk to me and your life coach. Because we have a really great relationship with Skill Point, we can get you to an admissions counselor directly, and they'll begin to start the process with you of intake. You will want to provide proof of income. They provide funding for students who are at a certain income level. So you're going to want to make sure that you can provide documentation on your income. Many times you do have to be a high school graduate. That is the same for GCTA. I failed to say that earlier. The only one I know of that you can do without a high school diploma is the CNA program, which is not offered right now. But we are hoping to get that back on. So really all of this stuff is going to be after you graduate. Skill Point Alliance, they provide a lot of social support. So, like, they're just a really supportive program, and they really just want to help you. And so it's also a small program that you'll be going into. So you're not going to have like a class of 50 people. It's the same with the GCTA. So these are like really supportive environments. that provide training in the certification program for free. So just keep that in mind here. And then I'm so excited about Peloton U. So Peloton U is a non-traditional college program, essentially. And what they do is they think about college a little bit differently. And so instead of having all these tests and things like that, they do what's called project-based learning. And these this kind of program is really designed for students like you, students that are not traditional 18-year-olds directly coming from high school, right? You might have more responsibilities. You might have kids of your own. You might have to work full time, right? They are catering to you. That is exactly what they're doing. And because of that, they allow students to work at their own pace. And so you can work get through your college program as fast or as long as you need. But the reason why that's so cool is that you can actually get like your associate's degree in 1 year versus having to do it for 2 years at ACC. You could even work towards a bachelor's program that usually takes 4 years to get that degree. You could earn it in like 2.5 years at Peloton U if you're going full time and just like you're motivated and ready. So for a lot of us, that's like, yeah, college is really what I want to do, but it might be hard for you to do a traditional college program like ACC, where you have to be there for 2 years, show up to your classes all the time. Like Peloton U really isn't that way. It's an online program. They do have campuses around Austin, but right now they're closed because of COVID, so it's completely online. They're a lot like Skill Point Alliance and GCTA in that there's no lengthy application process. You just have to work with an admissions counselor. And so if you're interested in applying to Peloton U, really just contact me or your life coach, and we send an email directly to an admissions counselor to help you get started with the process. The other thing about Peloton U, just that I want to highlight, is that they don't only have 2 entry dates like ACC. So you know how ACC is like you either start in August or January? At Peloton U, they enroll students every 6 weeks. And so you have a lot more freedom and flexibility as to like when you want to start college. So you do not have to have the TSI for this, but you want to be at a 9th grade level for for English and for math. And so for what we can really see across the board for all of these things is that they want to make sure that you're at a certain level to be able to do these certifications. So just keep that in mind, like what you're doing right now, like is worth it. And it's all designed to help you get to the next step, right? And so if you really put the time in right now and you're learning, and you're not going to have an issue passing these, right? Because you guys won't be at a 9th grade level, right? You'll ideally be at a 12th grade level, right? So just keep in mind, like everything what you're doing at the Excel Center is worth it, and it's only designed to help you get further. I'm not going to go on too much longer about Peloton U, just because they're coming on Tuesday. But please be there, and it's really amazing that they're coming just to speak with you guys. And so I just come with questions. Don't be shy. They're just a really cool program, and I hope y'all like it as much as I do. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Capital Idea. So Capital Idea is just one of the coolest programs in Austin, I think. They're just amazing, guys. So what they do is they partner with community college like ACC, and they provide all the tuition cost. So they literally cover all of your tuition, all of your books, and all of your supplies. So they're a major, major scholarship program. And they do that the entire time that you're in college. So they don't just do it for 1 year. They will do it for every single year that you're in that program. It's amazing. I might even be able to have them come speak to us as well. But if you're interested in that, let me know and I can get that set up for you. I'm going to just review the website with you guys because I think that's the best way to kind of show you this program. So this is what the website looks like. What I really want to focus on is I want to go here to programs. So Capital Idea will only fund certain programs at ACC. So like you can use financial aid and you can do any major of study, like they don't care, right? But for the scholarship program, they're like, we're gonna only pay for certain programs. And you're kind of like, well, why? Well, what their goal is to get local Austin people skilled and experienced enough to take advantage of all the job growth in Austin. So we're experiencing a lot of growth in the medical field, and we're experiencing a ton of growth in information technology or IT. And so when I talk to you guys about like certifications, like I talked about those, right? Because that's where like there are so many jobs in Austin. So if they're gonna pay for you, they wanna make sure that you can go out in this workforce and contribute and be a working member of society here. And the idea for that is like, we don't want all of our jobs in Austin to be outsourced to other people. So all those people from California moving, we don't want them taking these jobs, right? We want students just like you taking those jobs, but they recognize the financial need. So that's why they pay for all this. It's pretty cool. So if you're someone that's interested in the medical field, highly recommend this program. Peloton U is awesome, but they do not compare to ACC when it comes to the medical field. So Peloton U is going to be great if you want like a 4-year degree, or if the job that you want or the career goal that you want needs a college degree, that's a great place. But if you're someone that's interested in tech, or if you're interested in the healthcare field, ACC just has a much stronger program. Peloton U will talk more about that too. So healthcare is covered on here, information technology is covered, and also something called other careers, which is going to be like skilled trades that they cover. So they cover automotive tech. They have so much on here, electronics tech. They have HVAC, power technology, utility line worker. I mean, they do a lot of stuff. In terms of like healthcare programs, one of the things that I want to highlight is that they cover the RN or registered nurse program. That is a 4-year program and it's the most expensive program at ACC. So the fact that they cover it is like amazing. They also have a licensed vocational nurse or LVN, dental hygienist. They've got medical imaging. They have everything. They have like a lot of cool stuff. So anyway, I just want to highlight this. This is such a great opportunity. I just can't say enough good things about Capital Idea because they cover the cost of everything. So like if you wanted to go into the nursing program at ACC, they're covering your tuition, but they're covering all your books and your supplies. So that means like your scrubs, your stethoscope, all those things they're going to be covering, which is really awesome. And I will tell you why it's even more awesome is that when you do your financial aid, right? Remember how we talked about like that Pell Grant being $6,345, right? So then like ACC costs $2,500. So you get that refund of $3,000. When you do Capital Idea, you get that full Pell Grant to yourself. So you basically get $3,000 in August and $3,000 in January. So it's a really good deal, right? Because you get to keep all that money to support you. Capital Idea also will provide you with a career navigator who will essentially be like a life coach to you while you're at ACC. And they will help you get a job as soon as you graduate. So they just provide you with so much support. I just love them. The Capital Idea is unique. Like this kind of thing does not exist in San Antonio or Dallas or Houston. So just this is like a unique thing to take advantage of if you're in Austin. Okay, I'm also going to highlight a program. They're not really a program, they're just more kind of like a community resource. Have anybody here heard of Foundation Communities? No? Okay, so they do a lot of work. Rosa, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Foundation Communities, they do like a lot of stuff, but what a lot of people don't know is they have something called a college hub program, where if you're someone that's like wanting to go to college, they will help you apply. They'll help you do financial aid. They can help you file your taxes. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do FAFSA because I don't file taxes, you can go there for help for free. And they'll help you back file. So if you haven't filed for multiple years, don't worry about it. Don't let that keep you from getting to where you want to be. Go ahead. You can always back file. You can always talk to someone there. And they have staff that are bilingual. So if you have family members, friends that need tax, would you say, Rosa?
No, sorry.
Okay, no problem. And yeah, they also will provide you with like a case manager, so you're not having to go through this process by yourself. It's really, really, really cool. I'll just show you the website. Like, it's so easy to make an appointment with someone. They have all these like online appointments, and it's like all you got to do is sign up. It's the easiest thing. So look how it says, to schedule an appointment to work with a coach by phone, click here. So all I do is I click there, and then it allows me to register and schedule an appointment with someone. It's really awesome. They do also have a scholarship program. And so if you are like low on funds for college, this is a really great opportunity as well, because they can kind of help you with that in terms of looking for scholarships, applying for scholarships, or matching your scholarship. So they have like what's called a college match thing, where if you get a scholarship for $500, they'll match that same amount. So this is a really great option. Also, just for taxes, I just think it's so cool that you can go there and get free taxes.
I have something to tell you, Caroline. That is my first help that I get when my first son going to college. They help us a lot. So they were in the high school that my son goes, where, or I don't know,
Yeah.
So they invite us to go into the center, to the office, and they fill out all the application for college and help us to make the taxes too.
That's so cool.
Yes, they are wonderful.
Thank you for sharing that, Rosa.
Yeah,
because absolutely. And I'm just so glad that you said that, because like it's really kind of a lot to do these applications, like when it comes to ACC at least, right? And so especially if like you're someone that like likes to communicate with someone in Spanish, right? Like,
yeah,
that's understandable. Like, if that's your first language, even if you know English, it kind of just feels good, right? To speak in your own language.
But they have people talking English and Spanish too.
Right. Yes.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're bilingual, so it's a really great option. But what's really cool is you can get help with this virtually. If it was me and I was an Excel Center student, like I would go to Foundation Communities for sure, because they do all of this. So they help you with financial aid and the application process and scholarships. So like it's like a one-stop shop versus like having to do all of these things separately.
Yes.
So I just love them. They're amazing guides. So if I go here to services, let me see what it says. Yeah, College Hub. Yep, very cool. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost at time. What else do I got for you guys? Oh yeah, let's talk about jobs really quick. So if you're someone that you might have tons of job experience, you might be at the Excel Center just so you can be promoted, right? You might just need this diploma to get up to the next position. Or, you want to maybe look for jobs. The best place for you to start looking for jobs is Indeed. Indeed is like the best overall job search website. But there are more. I've listed like the top 10 best websites with it, like that were in 2020 the best websites to look for jobs. So we've got Indeed on here. We've got Monster. Glassdoor is a really great one if you want to read like reviews on a company. There's something called Flex Jobs. So if you're trying to do something kind of like remote or temporary, that's a really good one. LinkedIn is also an awesome website for looking for jobs. So these are just some. I mean, really just keep in mind that like the application process is all going to be online. And so you're really going to want to get used to looking things up online, doing your own research, because that's really how you're going to find the job is by looking on these kinds of websites. Also, if you need a job right now, like that's something we can help with. If you want to get a job immediately after high school, that's something that we can also help with. So there's something through Goodwill called Goodwill Business Solutions. And what they do is they basically help get you a job. And they will basically take your resume, they'll interview you a little bit, understand like, what are you looking for? What kind of jobs do you want? What kind of schedule are you looking for? What are the hours you want to work? And then what they'll do is they'll connect you with a case manager and they'll start sending you job leads 3 to 5 times a week until you can find the job that's right for you. So you don't have to be on your own when it comes to like getting support, getting a job after you graduate. Like the Goodwill mission is to help people get jobs, to help people find meaningful work, right? So take advantage of that, tap into our network and contact me. So if you need a job, tell me and I can connect you to a case manager within like a week. They reach out usually within 10 business days. So please know that this is a resource for you. And to please reach out to me if you're needing employment, if you lose a job and need another one, that's just something that we can help with. If you are a student at the Excel Center, when you graduate, and if you're in the ages of 16 to 24, so if you're 24 years old or younger, you will qualify for a workforce advancement program called WOAI, or sorry, WIOA. I always mess that up. Like, I don't know why. It's just so weird. So you guys, this is like one of the best programs because they have a lot of money. And so they can do a lot of stuff. They can pay for programs. They can help you find jobs. They can help you find internships. They can help you with your resume. They are amazing. And the issue is a lot of times as our students don't qualify because of their age. So if you are in that age group, like if you're 20 to 24, right? Or 18 to 24, this program's awesome. And what you would do is you register with WIOA and then you could still go do all the other stuff, right? But then they'll pay for a lot and you get a case manager. So a lot of times, like if the issue is funding, this is a really great opportunity. So yeah, this is just something that like, if you're in that age range, like I want to for sure connect you to WAOI when you graduate. Okay, and then just a reminder here, guys, that Peloton U is coming on Tuesday, April 20th. So please be there. I know you all hear me talk all the time. And wouldn't it be fun to hear someone else, right? Like, I wish I could show videos and stuff like that more too, but Google Meet doesn't like to behave when it comes to videos. But yeah, guys, like that's really it. I know I kind of gave a lot of information today, like, you know, there's a lot of programs I talked about. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you want to talk through, you know, you can always contact me. But I really want to kind of take this time to let you guys ask me anything, or if you have any questions or comments, now's a good time. You guys are so quiet today. Usually you're a little more talkative. Maybe we're all tired, right? It's the last term of the year.
Yeah. I know it's only Thursday, but it's already been a long week.
It has. I'm with you. Well, I'm really excited to be able. Oh, go ahead, Rosa.
I have a question, Caroline. Does only help for all Excel Center students, or you can help another people? Because I have a niece applying for college, but I don't know if she's. I will see her next Saturday, so I want to ask her how she's going on, but I don't know if I can give your number or it's only for the Excel Center students.
Oh, it's a really good question. I am only going to work with Excel Center students, but you can connect her to foundation communities. That's
Okay.
probably, you know why? The reason for that is because they can continue to help her. Like I could call her one time, but she needs to be connected to someone that can follow up with her, help her with all these things over time. So I want to make sure that she has more support than just one phone call from me. So connect her to foundation communities. They can provide her with all those services.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. But yeah, so usually like I would have to explain all of these programs to students very hastily at my desk as a life coach. And like, I feel like students wouldn't always like remember all of this a lot, right? That's really cool. I get to kind of show you all this stuff now, like before you even graduate. So you have an idea of like all these cool programs that you can do after. So yay for that. But that's all I got, guys. We can finish up 10 minutes early. I know it's been a long week, so.
Sure thing. And I did make sure to record our meeting tonight so I can post that up in the Google Classroom soon after we are done here. So thank you guys again so much for being here and for hopping in to advisory class tonight. I really appreciate it. I know Carolyn appreciates getting to share all this information with you guys. I'll make sure to post an announcement about it on either Monday or Tuesday next week, but please come back on Tuesday for our presentation with Peloton U, who are going to be talking about a lot of the specifics about what sorts of programs that they offer and all the different ways that they can help support people who are interested in continuing their education on past their Excel Center time. So definitely make sure to come back for that, and I'll make sure to post a reminder in the Google Classroom on Monday or Tuesday, kind of reminding people and getting people excited to come back and check that out.
Yeah, really be nice.